Hey, good evening, everybody. We're back here on the workbench. Oh, I know it's been a while since I put out my last video. Of course, there's a couple of good reasons behind it. So, anyhow, wanted to go ahead and shoot the quick video on this one. That way, I can get this one off the workbench and hopefully get back into it. So, let a few more people get in there, and then I'll talk about a few other things. But anyhow. Hard hat, we got your striker up and going again, big guy. So this was not an easy task, not by a long shot. Try to get some of this stuff here brought into picture here where you guys can see. Tighten that up just a little bit. A few more fragments. Yeah, I know there's a couple other pieces and parts missing, but they're I think that might be one of them. Can't quite tell. Anyhow, oh, squirrel, John. Oh, yeah, it's been kind of long here the last several weeks here. But like I said, I'll get into that. We'll finish up with the video, and then I'll tell you guys a little bit about what's been going on here. But anyways, hard hat, you had a major malfunction. It took out your finals, which is what we got here. You can see one of them got real crispy-fied. Another one's got a hole burned into it. That one's probably the driver because it's the one that has the least amount of burn, I think, on it. Maybe that one. Anyhow, those all were bad. That one I replaced just because of the fact that we made it a little healthier. That one's for part of the audio circuit. Your protection diode that melted and literally fell off on the inside. Another one from the audio circuit. And I don't know where the other parts of the other VR is, but that's what these are. That one actually exploded on the modulation side. Must have been yelling in the microphone too hard or something, I guess. But there's two of those that I had to replace. That one I probably used for test. And that one I don't think belonged to your radio because it's too big. But there are a couple of components that fell off that I couldn't find. And these are the ones that I did find that I had to replace on the circuit board, which is quite fun. That one's a small, you can even see these. That's part of the problem when you're dealing with SMD. There's a solder blob that is still stuck to it. That's probably, I don't know. But, you know, when you're dealing with these surface mount parts, it's incredibly hard. I know that's one of the capacitors. Yeah, so quite interesting, especially since they don't have an actual schematic specific to this radio. I actually had to use two different ones to kind of go through the circuit. Wipe off my ceramic tweezers here. These aren't plastic; these are actually ceramic, believe it or not. But good evening, guys. No, I don't believe it was. Squirrel, I don't believe this was a derail radio. I have had some in here. Um, this one has probably been um, the hardest hit that I've seen. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know the full details of how or what all happened. I think that there was a short someplace, especially since it had gotten so hot that this particular diode had gotten so hot that the solder literally melted and this fell physically off um, as far as on the input. So I don't know if he had problems with an alternator that went out or something like that and shot too much voltage into it. Not quite sure, um, you know, the whole background on it. And some of these I don't. Some of it, not even the customers even know. So, most all the damage was here and then back in the transmit section. When the radio came in, the only thing that it would do is short out. Once I got the short fixed, then the only thing it did was light up. We had no receive, no transmit um, on AM or FM. I got the FM back, which was the first portion of the radio, which was great because at least I had something to go off of. Um, it had several issues as far as for the carrier. For the AM side, we had no carrier and no modulation. So, like I said, we had to go ahead and repair the modulated side of the circuit and get that taken care of. Um, then I had the modulation on the AM, but I still had no carrier for AM. So I actually called one of the repair centers for Stryker because I was at a loss. And when you're dealing with the SMD components, because some of these are even smaller than what's on there, some of these are what they call a 402. I'm looking for them. Let's see. Uh, yep, here we go. All right, so I ordered a small pack because I'm very limited on what I have been stocking over the last few years of the SMD. And, I was going to get into it and then I decided not to. And unfortunately, I mean, it is here to stay whether we like it or not. I still like the through hole components. Part of it has to do with the fact that it's easier to work with for repair work. These are what they call a 603, and they're incredibly small. Somewhere I've got a set of books for the 402s, which are even smaller yet. This radio uses a lot of what they call the 603s in the metric standard. So 603s and the 402s, which are the next size down. Um, Personally, I like to use either the 805s or the 1206s, which are a little bit bigger. Speaking of which, these are the 1206s. You guys can see the difference, hopefully, in the dots. Because each one of those is, yeah, you can see there's like 3 times the difference in the size. So, hey, good evening there, Bruce. Yeah, like I said, I'll get into all that part of it. Like I said, just wanted to kind of get this one shot. That way I can I'm going to hopefully get it boxed so that I can get it out. If not, I'll box it in the morning when I get back home from work. But yeah, like I said, a lot went on with this. Uh, it just feels like here lately I've just been spinning my gears. But anyhow, so we're going to start this out. My power supply is actually set at 14.5. I'm not sure why this shows as low as what it does. Usually these show pretty, you know, pretty accurate as far as for the floating voltage. So, but I'm at 14.5 and this is showing 14.2. There again, now that may still be for the loss because I do have a lot of 16 gauge wire. Usually whenever I perform all the tests on the workbench, if it uses what I call a standard Cobra power plug, I just use the 16 gauge wire and go from there. That way, if you're using the heavy duty cords and you've got like 8 or 10 gauge ran up, and you're running a short little pigtail, you are going to get a lot more your voltage is going to increase or stay more constant than what it is here on the workbench. But again, I'd rather show you guys a lower output than what you see when you get it home. So that's part of the reason why I try to have everything set up in what I call a normal everyday application. A lot of people don't typically think of running overgauged wire or anything like that. Keeping your short leads, like on the 16 gauge, as short as possible within reason, obviously. So we've got the receiver aligned. I'll go ahead and turn this on. We're going to go through the receive first, and then we'll go into the transmit. So right there, we're down at 0.2 microvolts of signal. I'm not sure how well you guys can hear that. Move that up here to 0.3, 0.4, which is your common signal that you're going to hear from everybody that's out in the distance. So, really good. Let's turn that on 3. Now this one has got probably one of the best automatic noise limiters that I've ever seen. I'll turn this up to where I've got about 20 microvolts on the speaker. It drops down to like 1 microvolt. So heck of an automatic noise limiter. Noise blanker does drop it down some, but the A&L, that works superb, better than any of them I've ever seen on these radios. So real happy with the way that turned out. All right, let's turn that off, and it's receiving ideally on frequency like it's supposed to be. Let's get that unhooked. Go. I've still got all kinds of pieces and parts and pieces laying all over. Turn that down. Alrighty. So let's go up here. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I did get a new arm for Christmas for this thing. This is actually the first chance I've had to try it out. No, I did the last video of the year with this. See, not Wi-Fi. Open the receive and transmit. Sorry about that. Now that's okay. Yeah, 16.7 volts definitely hurts. But yeah, like I said, I'm not sure. I mean, that's kind of what it acted like. It normally I do see, I do see transmit finals blow out and things like that, which is pretty common. But usually whenever you have something like that, again, where these radios anymore, they set a lot of these filter caps up, especially on the input. They set those right at 16 volts. So, as soon as you hit that threshold, they actually self-detonate a lot of times as far as those cheaper capacitors on the input. That's the reason why, on your input voltage. So 99% of the time, I usually go ahead and replace those. It's a very rare You know, whenever they come in here, it's very rare unless they just want the basics. Um, you know, I usually always try to talk them into it because, you know, you're not talking just a few extra bucks at that point. But, you know, I still leave it up to the customer. Since we're on AM already, let's turn the power all the way down. Let's turn this here over because it's going to be easier to see a 5-watt slug. I've got a 5-watt slug here, which usually is in reverse, which will be back in reverse. We've got 100-watt in our peak and our 50-watt in the RMS going back to the 5,000-watt per dummy load. So on the 5-watt meter, this is what we're going to look at here. Got you set to where you can go down to about 0.4 of a watt, so just under the half-watt mark. Much lower, and these the further out you get with these, when you get down that low, you really get kind of mushy and distorted, because these radios really don't perform well until you start getting up to about a watt and a half. So I wanted to show you that we've got a nice low dead key for whatever your scenario might be. Yeah, we'll come back to that here. Let's go ahead and turn this all the way up. I'll show you what your top out is, which is about 13.5, almost 14-watt dead key, which is what I was shooting for. Looking at the 50-watt slug, so 50 watts there. Let's go over here to FM for just a brief moment. And your FM, you know, you're going to be able to do about 20 watts. These radios, usually whenever I get them in out of the box, they're usually a 40-watt on FM. And that's really kind of hard on the finals, I think. So I usually back it down. 20 watts FM is quite substantial, especially if you're running any kind of power. So, you know, just to protect the lifespan of the radio is what that's all about. All right, so let's turn this back down. And we're going to go to that half watt, and then we're going to go up and we're going to see what the differences are here. So, audio. So we're getting about 98 on the PEP. Audio. And about 20 on the RMS, which is about normal. So go up to that 1.5 watts, because I'll just slam a 5-watt slug. So all right, so you know, we already know what the peak's going to do. It's going to do the same. So let's look at the RMS. Audio, audio, audio. So right at about 30 RMS. Bring that up 1 more watt. So that's about 2.5 watts. Audio, audio, audio. So about 35. I did actually back this off just a little bit, mainly because it was getting kind of dirty. I actually got right at about 40 RMS out of this, but it started getting kind of dirty and I didn't like that. So we wanted to go ahead and back the modulation down a little bit and keep everything nice and crisp. But we've got good power for you all the way around, just normal talk. Hello, 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 audio, audio, audio. So my voice doesn't carry the radios up like they normally do. Some of the people that's got a little bit deeper voice, which Hard Hat, I think he's got a little bit deeper voice than I've got. You know, and he's got that good rumbly tone. So he's got one of those voices that I think is just ideal for radio myself. But anyways, Hard Hat, we got you up and going, big guy. I'll get the 10s on this, and well, that'll probably be about all the time I've got by the time we finish talking here on the workbench. But like I said, I just wanted to get in here and chat with you guys for just a few minutes. Like I said, I know things have been kind of strange. I've been getting a lot of calls here lately and what have you. And these are an invaluable tool as well if you're working on much SMD stuff. Um, this was definitely a lifesaver. But yeah, like I said, I ordered up quite a bit of stuff for the SMD here the last couple of weeks, just to start having some of it on hand, because whether I like it or not, more and more radios are using a lot of the SMT and SMD parts. So uh, it is what it is. So, it's what we have to do. I have fought it as long as I can. Like I said, I've worked with them a little bit here and there, and I've kept the general, like I said, the general parts on hand as far as for most of the basic modifications and a few little odds and ends. But overall, it's not been something that I have tried to really get into a whole lot. Mainly because of the fact that I knew I was going to have to replace my old SMD station, which I did that last month. So, yeah, I said crazy. I wish I was, Gary. Unfortunately, right now, I haven't done any kind of repair work to speak of. I mean, this is the first thing I've actually gotten completed since January. Um, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I wound up with COVID about 3 weeks. We had one gentleman at work that left abruptly one day, and um, and about 3 weeks later, I wound up coming down and getting, sick and running with fever and all that other stuff. And for the last month or so, about the only thing I have done is sleep almost 10, 12 hours a day, just trying to, recoup. I will actually finally get a day off this weekend, which is going to be good. I've got 2 real easy peek-in tunes to do, and then I'm going to try to get on some of these other repairs. But sadly, yeah, I am still not taking orders until I'm completely caught up. Hello, Road Rage. Yeah, like I said, and it sucks because this is tax time, and usually I try by now to have everything caught up by the first of the year so that I can build, a small amount of amps just to have physically on the shelf. And this year I've just not had that. But yeah, going back to health concerns and what have you. Um, that's one of the big things is I've had that's put me down and out for uh, basically the last 2 months. It's the reason why I haven't been shooting any videos. I've been working. If you if you look at my poor workbench, which I'll show you guys, um, it's a complete and utter disaster over here. Everything's just shoved over in a corner. With what little I've been out here, just haven't felt well enough to dive into the small stuff like this. So, but yeah, that's one of the big things. Another thing too that's going to keep things kind of at a crawl for me is, I actually went and picked up part of the meds and part of the stuff. Um, I've actually got to start a 3-month process here um, with some therapy that they're going to be putting me through. Um, where I've got to take some injections and stuff to hopefully get over some other stuff that's been going on. Um, where the health is kind of degraded a little bit more than what I had ever hoped for. It's actually unrelated to the COVID, but you know, uh, it's just been a really rough start for this year. So I think they said if it comes in like a lion, it'll go out like a lamb. So hopefully that's the same way with the health. But I know I'm not going to be feeling all that well. So for those of you that still have repairs here, I know it's been forever for what I've got left, but please bear with me, guys. I'm going to try to stay up and hopefully do a little bit better job as far as staying up with the videos and updates for you guys. But like I said, I've just really felt horrible the last several weeks, and I'm still unfortunately going to work. At least I am doing that. The other gentleman that went out just shortly after the first of the year, um, he's still not back to work. He wound up with heart complications and all kinds of other good stuff over this. So, that's part of the reason why I guess the doctor, and I don't even know what this fifth strain is. I mean, I've heard it a few times that has been going around, but it's definitely been hitting some people pretty hard. Everybody, I was the last of the Mohicans, if you will, to wind up with the COVID. I mean, I've evaded that from the beginning all the way up until recently. So, I feel pretty fortunate in relationship to that, especially considering the fact that, I'm one of the unvaccinated, or true bloods, as they call them, as I've seen on Facebook. Um, and that's for personal reasons. But anyhow, I'm still doing all right. Just bear with me, guys. Like I said, it's been rough. Hello, Popcorn Dallas. Uh, but yeah, I wanted to get in here and speak with you guys for just a few minutes, give you an update, take care of Hard Hat here so that I can get him up and going. And, like I said, I know I've got several others. It's just like somewhere. Yeah. Um, I still have this that is for a radio that I started roughly around 3 months ago. Um, Wound up with a problem on the what was it, on the clarifier mod. And what I've been trying to do is take care of some of the easy stuff so I can make out some. um, Thankfully, I will have to say that the gentleman that sent me this, I haven't cashed it yet. And I usually, if I get prepayments like that, I usually won't cash those until after I've completed the work. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to get some videos out this weekend. I've got one or two other radios, one of which I'll probably do a review on. It's a brand new radio that came in for just a conversion, and obviously for the power tune. But like I said, I wanted to get in here and bring you guys up to date a little bit and kind of go from there. And like I said, I've still got to get ready and go to work yet this evening. I've got to finish putting tins back on this. That's really all that's left now. I've already got him figured up. So, well, I definitely appreciate you keeping me in your prayers for sure. That was so tight. Oh, Lord. That's a good one. That is definitely a good one, Scott. Yeah, I've had one of those before too, and yeah, that's uh, that's an interesting experience. Definitely an interesting experience, to say the least. Oop, that's the only thing I don't like about that stand is it's a little more wobbly, but it gives me tons of more movement. That's what's kind of nice about it, because I can really stretch out further away than what I used to be able to and still stay the same height. Um, it's going to allow me to get a lot closer to the meters too. I know some people, for example, right here, now I can get all three of them in there where it's a little easier to see if I take the glare off the glass. So that's part of the reason why I wanted this new stand. Yeah, like I said, with the other treatments that the doctor's going to be giving me, um, most of which I'm able to give myself at home. It's just one of those where I'm going to be tired. So they'll be I'll be taking those basically in what I call in the morning, um, and because of the fact that I work the graveyard shift or third shift, however you want to call it, the vampire shift. That's what my daughter refers to it as, especially since I rarely see the sun, except in passing. But like I said, hopefully the new stand is going to help out as well. But I also got one other thing too that's kind of neat. Now, granted, I haven't had, because there again, this is how bad I've gotten to feel too. But one of my subscribers had made mention Stream Deck. So I haven't really got a chance to get everything figured out on this. I got the app downloaded for the computer, and I've got a couple of the buttons programmed, but I don't have anything assigned to them other than 3 of the buttons at the moment. Now that's the one part of that. But like I said, I haven't felt even well enough to mess with this. But eventually, now that I've got this and I see that I can do the multiple different cameras and things like that, and possibly split screen, like I said, I've got to really do a lot more digging on this. But this should allow for a lot more content in the videos, where I don't have to keep moving the camera back and forth. For example, there's a lot of stuff that you see where I use the voltmeter that's up here. One of the last things that I did in December, I didn't get it until after the first of the year. Where I've been trying to do some major updates on the workbench. So once I go through all of it with a fine-tooth comb and make sure everything that I'm happy with everything, I will have some test gear that I've upgraded and updated to be able to do even more than what I do here now. I can still get by with a lot of what I've got, but moving forward into, the dawn of the new era, if you will. I ordered a brand new Rowan Schwartz 300 megahertz oscilloscope. I wanted the 4-channel, but the 4-channel was just more than I could afford. But it does have a logic probe that comes with it, so it gives me 8 different deviations here. Even though it's a 2-channel scope, it's actually able to do 8. So that's one of the nice things there. Very quick load time. I think it's like under 10 seconds for sure. Yeah. So, great little setup here. Still having to learn it a little bit. It is a German-made oscilloscope, so very nice high-end piece of test gear. Just great. Went ahead and updated my signal generator, or my sine wave generator. They call it a signal generator, but it's actually a sine wave generator, where you can go into different things and what have you. Trying to think here. There again, a lot of new stuff for me to learn all over again. Go home. So, this one's a 2-channel versus the 4-channel, or 2-channel versus a single channel that I had. Again, the other one is actually an $800 unit. This one's under $300. So, but it's got a lot more features for some of the other upcoming projects that I'm looking at here within the next year and a half. So that's part of the reason why, since I was right there on the cusp of having enough to be able to write off test gear and what have you for the year, I went ahead and bought these 2. That way I can get that wrote off on taxes this year as well. So that's part of the reason why I've done some updates. But like I said, I've got some pretty nifty gear that's still very useful. You know, the soldering iron that I've used, or not soldering iron, but the desoldering station that I've used for many years. That one I changed out, and again, due to room, I went ahead and ordered. Get it in the shot here. So the hard part is figuring out how to get some of this in here. But anyways, so went ahead and replaced my old SMD station that I took off the workbench a few years ago. I replaced it with an updated version. So it's got the built-in, it's already got the built-in solder sucker on it. You know, I had the other one, just had the soldering iron and the hot air. This one's actually got the desoldering pump built onto it as well. So again, it just gives me, you know, a few more things as far as to work off of. But other than that, yeah, like I said, it's a pretty nice little setup. So like I said, you know, I've got that oscilloscope that I would probably, I think 3Made's going to wind up with that one. I'm going to keep my Tektronix. I went through it back in December and, you know, clean the connections and stuff, and it seems to quit glitching as far as on the screen, because I figured there was a connection that wasn't made properly. So, you know, that was one of those where it was during the smoking era, and I haven't smoked in here for about 3.5 years now. I've actually been off cigarettes for several years, and like I said, been going through any of the old test gear and stuff, which since I've got an exhaust fan in here, the equipment that has been smoked around over the years is in pretty good shape. You know, there's no nicotine that I have found inside of them, so that's even better. But all right, guys, like I said, I need to quit rambling. I just wanted to get in here, give you guys a you know, touch off as far as how come you haven't seen any videos lately and what have you. Like I said, still, you know, still got good days, bad days. They're going better as far as the further I get. I figure if I'm off work for a couple of days this weekend, which will be the first time in a month, you know, I'll actually feel more like myself again. But anyhow, get that one shut off, and we need to go ahead and tins on this, get ready for work. All right, guys, I appreciate you popping in for the quick video. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more of an update as far as how come we haven't seen any videos. But we've got more to come this weekend, so we'll definitely pop in and do 2 or 3 quick ones and go from there. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Take care and God bless.